G'day, I'm Nurchin. It was Australia Day the other day and we're heading down under to celebrate. But, as we wander, keep your eyes peeled because a terrible beast is said to lurk in the trees. A creature known as the drop bear. The drop bear, Phylarctos plumatus. Closely related to the koala, this marsupial lives among the trees of the Australian bush. Like their koala cousins, they're built sturdy, with large, strong arms for latching onto their prey. They can grow to about the size of a large dog, and they're covered in solid muscle. They rely on the thick eucalyptus tree branches to support their weight. Besides their size, there are some other distinct differences between the drop bear and the koala. Notably, that the drop bear is carnivorous, which hasn't been seen in the marsupial family since ancient times. They lack canines, but instead rely on large, sharp premolars for slicing up their prey. They also have a mottled orange coat. This aspect is commonly disputed, with most people saying the drop bear shares the same color palette as the koala. This may be true, but each coat color serves a much different purpose. The grey and white coat of the koala helps it blend in with the eucalyptus tree while remaining completely stationary, while the drop bear's orange and brown mottled coat helps it hide while moving through the treetops by blending with the light coming through the leaves. Imagine you're having a romantic picnic of meat pies and VB tinnies in the Australian bush. You look up at the tree canopy and see the sunlight filtering through the branches, making warm colours shift gently in the breeze. But was that movement of colour from the light or from a predator? It's possible that the two different colours are just a misidentification, or maybe two different breeds from the same species. It's also possible that koalas and drop bears started mating, leading to a mix between the two. I sure hope not. We don't need any more species catching chlamydia. But we'll explore this aspect later. So you may be wondering, why are they called drop bears? What inspired this terrifying description? Well, it's due to their unusual hunting habit of climbing very high up into trees and then falling down onto their victims below. Due to their large size, they can't easily catch up to their prey, which is why they've developed this new ambush strategy. Some believe that the sheer impact of a 120 kilogram drop bear landing on you is enough to kill instantly, but if not, it uses its large arms and teeth to grapple and rip the throat out of its prey. Though, due to their unique teeth, they pull their prey in with their arms, and it was probably more of a puncture and slice than a rip and tear. Then, afterwards if they can, they drag the prey up into the tree to eat away from competition. These creatures are apex predators. If you come across one, you're probably in for a bad time. But, while they aren't often sighted, there are some ways to avoid a sudden and horrible fate. Firstly, stay away. They don't travel far and they'll only really attack you if you walk right beneath them. Luckily, they stay away from paths and roads, probably because landing on asphalt is a drop bear OH&S hazard. They live deep in the bush all over Australia, though mostly to the eastern and southeastern bushlands. Though it's hard to say for certain where they live or what their population size is due to their awkward habits. Typically, species are documented using GNSS technology, though due to the dense canopy in which they live, it can cause problems for the signal. Plus, equipment keeps getting damaged during the attacks. So, to circumnavigate this, it may be possible to indirectly track them by tracking their prey rather than the bears themselves, to get a better understanding of how many populate an area. But until this method is refined, it's better to avoid these places in general. A second interesting aspect to the danger of drop bears is they don't appear to attack Australians. When they aren't attacking animals, their recorded food of preference is tourists. There is limited evidence surrounding this, but a recommended deterrent is to fool them by pretending to be Australian. You can do this by talking in a heavy Australian accent or wiping Vegemite underneath your armpits or behind your ears. One second. Oh yeah, crikey mate. Oh, she'll be right. Yeah, good. Some also recommend hiding forks in your hair, but this definitely seems like more of a last line of defense. This is where the two species diverge. This information seems to more reference the grey, more koala-esque version of the drop bear, rather than the larger, orange mottled version. And it's actually this grey one which is far more recognisable and internationally popular. Even without meeting one, every Australian knows the dangers surrounding a drop bear.
Like a bigger, meaner koala bear.
Yeah. Then they drop from the tree.
Yeah.
And then grab your head by the head.
By the head.
The appearance of grey drop bears in pop culture solidified the public's perception on the creatures. Notable examples including The Plummeting Ursa from Path of Exile, Phascomon from Digimon, and literal drop bears from Ty the Tiger and Marvel Comics with the allies of Koala Commander. So here we are, let's start with the large one first. Is it real? Yes, at least it was. Didn't see that coming, did ya? Turns out, thousands of years ago, this creature walked the land known as a marsupial lion, Thylacoleo carnifex. You may think, that's not a bear. Yeah, well, neither is the koala. Turns out, both of them are part of the family Diprotodontia. If you've watched some of my earlier stuff, you may be familiar with the word. Which is why I think the Diprotodon and the bunyip are effectively one and the same. Just like the bunyip, the drop bear may have been one of the Australian megafauna that's just been remembered through cultural memory. But the marsupial lion's been discovered and the drop bear hasn't. Due to this, the Australian Museum's entry on the drop bear may have borrowed some information from its ancient lookalike. The transition between reality and folklore usually involves a lot of exaggerations, but by no means is the Thylacoleo carnifex a pushover. Those rare carnivorous marsupials? Yeah, this was one of them. These things could reach up to 160 kilos, and they did drop from trees onto their prey, leading to the drop bear identity. And look at that thumb. If you weren't instantly pummeled to death, this thing could easily cleave through your flesh. This creature was so powerful, it was assumed to even take down our beloved bunyip. It may have been one of the most powerful predators to ever exist. It's a good thing koalas are always doped up on eucalyptus, so I don't want them realizing their full potential. Okay, so this creature may have inspired the drop bear, but it went extinct thousands of years ago. What's all this about Vegemite and tourists? Well, maybe the species still survives, or maybe it's adapted into a smaller, more durable version for modern times. It's a common joke in Australia to pretend these things don't exist, but they're a real threat. Every year, tourists and small YouTube creators are killed by these creatures, but you can help by spreading the word and subscribing to my channel. And there's one last piece of evidence, known by many but still kept a secret. You see, the drop bear is actually... Wait, is there something in my roof? Oh, crikey, Dick!